One you want me to?
Amazing. Um, well, hi everyone. Thank you all so much for attending. This is wild. This is easily the biggest webinar I've been a part of. This is also my second one too. So, I really appreciate y'all's time. I'm Rishi. I'm one of the founders of Hotplate. Um, Hotplate's like a super simple online ordering platform built for chefs and bakers that sell food online. Our goal is to make it really easy to sell food without worrying about the headache of like taking orders via DM and like having to handle Venmo or hacking together some ordering solution that doesn't really work for pre-orders. And yeah, we're used by thousands of chefs and bakers across the country. Started it 4 years ago with some buddies of mine at UT Austin, and would did not think I'd be here today. This is such a blessing and such a privilege. So, no, I'm truly humbled to be here with everyone, and I'm really excited to be joined by Rachael from Valley Girl. Rachael, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. My name is Rachel. I'm the owner of Valley Girl Kitchen. I'm a home baker, a mom of three. I started my home bakery business right before I had my daughter. It started as just a hobby, and I was posting pictures of my bakes online, and my friends and family were like, "Okay, can we like start ordering things from you?" So word of mouth just like kind of took off, and I was quickly like doing a lot of like parties and events. So like cakes, cupcakes, cake pops, a lot of themed stuff, stuff that took a lot of time and like energy to do. And I actually did that for 2 years. And then I went through like this extreme burnout where I was like, I'm quitting. Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, this is just so overwhelming for me. I have three kids, four and under. My oldest is special needs as well, which was another big reason why I wanted to start my own business so I can always be there for him. Um, so I was like, something needs to give. So I completely stopped taking custom orders. I didn't offer anymore, and I started doing these treat boxes. Every month I pick a fun theme, and I would do like cookies or brownies, and I would theme them around like seasonal or like holiday stuff for the month. And that took off for me. I started doing like 2 dozen orders every weekend. Um, and it was great for me because I was able to streamline my baking processes. I wasn't doing a different thing every time I had an order. I didn't have to constantly order like random supplies, like a cookie cutter that I would use once and then never have to use again. So it completely changed my business. And now I do my tree boxes, and I also I create recipes for other home bakers to use in their business. So I offer a recipe subscription, and I also teach home bakers how to go digital and do stuff like that too. And now I'm teaching people how to offer tree boxes because that was the best decision I ever made. And I know there's a lot of different paths you can take as a home baker. So why not show people that there's other options out there? And that's a little bit about me.
Beautiful. Wow, what an amazing story and description. And I'm biased. I think treat boxes are awesome, right? Any sort of like weekly or monthly, porch pickup or pre-order, type
Yes.
I think is super um just super effective in many ways. We're a big believer that custom is also really tough to run as a
Mhm.
business, not just the back and forth and even the back end of it, but just making custom orders is really hard.
Yeah.
We're a big believer in the pre-order model.
Yes.
All the folks that use Hotplate do these like weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly drops where
Yeah.
they'll put up an item. Typically, it is like a box or an assorted box on their Hotplate site. You could schedule with Hotplate, you could schedule your orders to open in advance. So the really cool thing is I can say like, hey, I have a treat box coming up like next week or the week after, but I can schedule it right now. And then create all the info, set up the menu, publish it. And then when you start marketing it to your customers, they can see the info for it. Um, but they can't order until the order is open. So they can actually put their phone number into your Hotplate site and get a text when orders do open. So it kind of streamlines a lot of the back and forth with the customers. Maybe they don't, you market on Instagram, but they don't see your posts on Instagram, right? Um, and just eliminates a lot of the headache associated with that. So no, I
Text
lo-
feature is great.
thanks so much. Yeah, I think that model, and the way you kind of run your business, we found it to be a lot more profitable, a lot less overhead, just saves a lot of time and headache. Again, eliminates a lot of the back and forth, and you can do it from the comfort of your home, right? And it allows you to take care of your kids. So many of our customers are moms, and I hear so many stories of folks that are able to do like sell food, do porch pickups, or have people pick up, um, and be able to spend time with their kids. And I think that's one of like my favorite things about we're running Hot Play is getting to hear those stories as well, of entrepreneurs being able to run a business and also uh, be with their families. So um, I have a little presentation just about Hot Plate. And then obviously I think everyone's here for the main topic, which is like how to get your first 100 customers, how to run a business like this sustainably. Rachel, you're clearly much more seasoned than I am and a lot much bigger expert in that because you're doing it, you're making it happen. So I'll try to keep this pretty quick and just go through my thing, and then I would love to make the most of it. Most of the presentation focused on obviously like your thoughts on running a home business, how to grow your uh, customer base, and yeah, just answering any questions people have.
Good.
So thank you again, also, before I go into this, to everyone that's on this webinar. This is truly an amazing turnout. I really appreciate y'all taking your time on a Wednesday afternoon and morning to join us. So, like I said, so I'm Rishi. I'm one of the founders of Hotplate. Not going to go into it too much again, but Hotplate is. All right, let me see if I can move this. Oh, perfect. So yeah, I'm Rishi. I'm one of the founders of Hotplate. So Hotplate is a online ordering platform that enables home bakers, chefs, people that sell food to kind of streamline their business and easily manage their pre-orders. And we're used by over 2,000 chefs and bakers across the country. Those folks have sold over $30 million of food on Hotplate, which is absolutely insane. We work with everyone from like bagel makers, creameries, pizza makers, prep food. I would say that the pizza makers and the creameries, a lot of them do operate out of commissary kitchens, not their home. You obviously want to make sure when you're running a food business that you're checking with your local laws and making sure what you can and can't sell. But the beauty of doing a home baking business is that you can run it at your house. There are a lot of states with cottage food laws that support that. And we're super lucky to work with the folks like Sarah Sourdough. I would highly check her out, Sarah to Sourdough on Instagram. Little Pearl Bread's amazing. El Bread Shop Noel is one of my favorite people in the world. And folks like Bonjoro Brigadero from Cora and like DOS. Super privileged to work with these folks. We got folks like Sarah to Sourdough who make and Little Pro Breads who make these really cute videos on Instagram that you should definitely check out. Who sometimes they'll just like open orders and they won't even post on Instagram, which is kind of crazy, and they'll still sell out. And then we have someone like Cora Donuts who runs this insanely amazing donut business. I would also check them out. They have like 70,000 plus followers on Instagram and are really like doing it. You can look at their photos and it looks like a Michelin star bakery. So it's like, wow. Um, but yeah, so Hotplate is super simple to set up. So the idea is that whenever you set up a Hotplate account, you get two links. You get a storefront, which is what customers go on to like see the info for the sale and order from you. And then you have your portal, and your portal is where you can like set up your drops, as we call them. A drop is just a fancy word for like a sale or like a pre-order sale that you can schedule in advance. We call it a drop because a lot of our biggest folks will open orders on their hot plate site and it sell out super quickly, kind of like a shoe drop. And so that limited nature of what you're selling can create a lot of hype and exclusivity, which we kind of turn into a form of marketing with the features that we have. So with Hot Plate, it's really easy. You can launch your storefront, create your drops, when customers order, they can you get like the notifications on the back end of like, hey, someone just ordered for me. And the customer also gets automatic text message reminders about the pickup 24 hours before, 2 hours before, and even like 15 minutes before the pickup. And you can obviously customize those notifications, but it does eliminate a lot of the back and forth with the customers and, having to like text them, hey, like pick up your bread tomorrow, don't forget, right? And then someone doesn't show up and you're like, oh my God, like what am I doing, right? With all this unsold or unpicked up bread, right? Um, and then on the back end, Hotplate eliminates a lot of the work too by giving you a prep list that's automatically generated. So I heard from a lot of bakers that like, oh my God, I have to go through a spreadsheet and tally up, everything I sold so I know what I need to make. And I have to like write out all my tickets by hand. Hotplate eliminates all that manual work for you. So you don't need to go through and worry about that stuff. You can just focus on the food. And yeah, just saves you a lot of time and headache overall. So main topic of today is how to get your first 100 customers. I have some thoughts that I'll go through, but again, I mainly wanted to also get Rachel's thoughts. So Rachel, as I'm going through these too, if anything resonates, please feel free to chime in. Um, so in order to get your first 100 customers, some of the things we find, and this is obviously just based on data that I have working with thousands of chefs and bakers, we have folks that definitely don't just, right, like do this. We have folks that like, operate on the edges, if you will, but this is kind of overwhelmingly what I tend to see when I see like success on Hot Plant with this model is be known for a hero product. So what we mean by a hero product is like it's a product that you're kind of known for. So in the case of Rachel, right, you're known for those monthly treat boxes, right? And it's something that when customers think about Valley Girl or like your brand, they really associate it with that one product, right? And so we think it's really important that you nail your bestseller and know why it's unique compared to other options in your area. A lot of times people will try to make a menu that has like 20, 30 items because they really want to cater to everything customers might want. And we actually find that it's better to keep your menu super focused, super limited, and really market the quality of the product, the exclusivity of the product, and just keeping it really focused on a few items that you can be really known for, if that makes sense. Um, Definitely focus on the repeat customers. So with Hot Plate, I think I mentioned this before, but one amazing feature is that customers can go to your storefront and they can click this button right here to put their phone number in and get a text when orders open. So really like having people put their phone number in and then having them order, like getting them into the hot plate funnel. And then once they order, right, like continuing to do drops so that it sends out text to them and it like kind of continues to drive repeat buying is a really huge way to grow your fan base and kind of also having like a really solid feedback with your customers. I think is super important to growing your business, right? Like in order to get 100 customers, you definitely want a lot of those to be people that are coming back for your products because they love it so much, right? And kind of aligned with this as well is keeping a regular cadence. So we see folks that typically do when they're starting out, they're kind of just like doing pop-ups or doing these kind of porch pickups at a pretty infrequent basis, or they're still trying to figure out what their schedule is. Definitely aligning on a schedule. So like I'm gonna open orders on Monday, close them on Thursday, pickups are on Friday through Sunday, something like that. Establishing that schedule so that customers go and they know when to expect your orders to open, when they can expect pickup every week is really helpful to kind of creating that repeat demand, right? Because you want to kind of reduce the amount of variables customers have to think about when they're thinking about like purchasing from you. So having that regular schedule as much as possible is super important. Obviously, you can't control when like maybe specific you get invited to like do a pop-up at some area, right? And that might be like a one-off or like random. But as much as you're doing these like porch pickups or these monthly boxes, doing them on like a regular cadence really helps customers kind of understand where to and when to buy from you. Um, Marketing, I've actually heard from a lot of folks that there are different marketing channels that really work for bakers that are super important that actually don't really work as much for other types of food. So there's some that definitely work across the board. Farmers markets, I'm sure a lot of y'all are thinking about farmers markets, marketing on social media, building that following on social media, and again, like engaging with your customers. Sarah to Sourdough and Little Pearl Breads, they have like at this point each have like 100,000+ followers. So might be hard to look at them as an example and be like, it could easy it's I look at them even, and I'm not even a baker, and I can feel imposter syndrome sometimes because they're just crushing it. But you have to remember that everyone started somewhere. And I think the thing you can do the best with social media is just being authentic, marketing your story. I think Rachel, you do a really good job at this. Even marketing this webinar, like I saw your story post yesterday, and it
Oh,
was,
thank you.
of course, no, it was so great because it really just felt like really authentic. I felt like I was literally like with you and you were like telling me what was going on. And even though it was to like market something like this webinar, it just felt really authentic. It didn't feel like you were selling me anything. It just felt you were like just there and like being, you. And I feel like people really resonate with that as opposed to feel like they're being sold something or feeling like there's like this wall um uh, between you and the person that you're buying from. So as much as possible, being like a person on social media and being authentic really goes a long way. Um, and then traditional retention strategies for like getting customers or like Hotplate's SMS feature is really great. We see a lot of folks that do an email newsletter and again like posting regularly on social media. Things that are specific to baking that I found to be quite interesting are like starting a Facebook page for your business. I talked to one baker yesterday who I believe they're in Colorado, but they moved from I want to say like Arkansas or somewhere to Colorado and, relatively new to the area. They have 4 kids. And this woman posted just like a photo of her and her story, just being like, hey, I'm new to the neighborhood. I'm going to be, opening this micro bakery. And she got 200 followers really quickly, right? Now, obviously, not everyone's going to have that story. Some people it might take a while for it to take off. I think establishing a Facebook group for your business, or at least like a Facebook page for your
That's
business.
actually my primary like way that I sell my boxes is in, so I have my Facebook page and then I made a group specifically for my local customers. I have questions set up for my group, so I know that anyone that joins the group is only somebody that's going to be a customer because your Facebook page, anyone in the world can follow you. But if you have a group set up and you have questions set up to where you're only approving people that could potentially buy from you, you're not wasting your time marketing to people that
Aren't
it
in the
wouldn't, they
area,
would never
aren't
be able
interested.
to buy from you. So
Exactly. No, 100%, 100%. And I've seen that strategy work with other bakers on Hot Plate. And that's definitely something I always recommend to bakers now as they're kind of figuring out like how do I get my first customers, right? Um, Besides like in the beginning doing things that don't scale, which I'll talk about in a little bit, you want to leverage like social media for sure. And I think Rachel, you hit the nail on the head there. Like creating a Facebook group for your brand and kind of letting people in that are gonna buy from you is a really solid way because something you can broadcast. You post on there and it goes out to all the potential customers in your group, right? Which is just such a great way. Also of engaging. Like imagine if I'm a customer and I can just get bread from whoever, but I'm a part of this like group with this baker and I have a special relationship. Like I'm in something, it's kind of like a club. It feels
yeah.
really like special and exclusive compared to like me just like going to like the Kroger or whatever and like buying bread, right? It's such like a boring experience. This actually
Yeah.
makes that like a really fun experience for people.
And you can put like polls in your group. You can ask direct feedback from your customers and your community on what they actually want. So, like you said, it makes them feel involved and, they like that.
Exactly. And we also find that engagement, like once you have these channels, engagement really goes a long way, right? It's like to your point, Rachel, like putting up polls, even on Instagram, I always hear people like, hey, I put up a poll on my story and I didn't expect this many people to like reply to it, right? But it actually turned out to work really well. So that's Facebook groups, and I really would highly recommend everyone try that strategy. When you think about strategies like Facebook groups and stuff, you also want to think about it kind of as an experiment. It's never like one and done. I hear a lot of people be like, oh my God, I set this up and it didn't really work, right? Well, I'm like, okay, but it's an ongoing thing. It's not like a one and done, right? Like you didn't just like because it didn't work, it's not like it's over, right? Like you have so much room to experiment, to do unscalable things, which again I'll get into in a second. And kind of like getting the word out there in the beginning is so important because success doesn't happen overnight, and for a lot of people, I think it does take a lot of time. But I think these are strategies that we've seen a lot of the other folks do with that work that I would highly recommend you consider and take advantage of. And one other channel we've been hearing a lot about from bakers is actually Nextdoor. So it really varies like state to state, town, city to city, town to town. So I've heard from some bakers they like try to post on Nextdoor, didn't have like a ton of success, or actually the post got taken down because their neighborhood doesn't really approve that. And I've also heard from other bakers who posted on Nextdoor and it went like super viral actually in their neighborhood. And like I heard from one baker who literally like posted on Nextdoor. She like just made a really authentic post about her and how like she's going to start selling bread. And now she's doing almost $10,000 a month in sales, which is like absolutely bananas. Like that's definitely not like a normal number I hear when I
Next
hear.
door isn't one that I like would have thought of for that. That's
Yeah,
really
it's really cool. I know, again, like it's not something, it's something that I actually learned about like in the last 3 weeks because I started talking to a lot more bakers and I've been really shifting my attention from like, how do I just onboard people to Hotplate that already have a following, that are already successful, which is kind of the customer that we started with, to now I'm thinking like, how do I help people that are on Hotplate grow their business and how do I help people kind of get that initial start, right? And and channels that I've been exploring, Instagram and Facebook are pretty, not obvious ones, but I think there are ones that everyone in this group are probably already trying to engage with in some level or to some degree. But Nextdoor is a really surprising one because it's actually really perfect if you think about it, right? Like you're trying to market to the people that are in your area anyway. And there are certain areas where like there probably isn't good sourdough, or there probably isn't like a way to um like market sourdough really well. Or there probably just isn't sourdough that exists that like people are even aware of, right? And so someone finding out that there's like this really amazing like local baker in their neighborhood that they can buy bread from directly is a really like special thing. And I've heard from a lot of folks that have leveraged Nextdoor as a baker to like get their initial customers to go viral. And then Hot Plate's a perfect point in that because they're like, oh my God, like I can't keep up with this demand. I need to streamline everything. And that's when Hotplate can really come into play, right? But and thinking about how to get to that step, Facebook groups are an amazing strategy. I think Nextdoor is a really good strategy. And I'm also running, by the way, as a side, a experiment this week with some bakers. So if anyone's interested, let me know. I'm more working with like 5 bakers right now, but I'm hoping to like kind of scale it a little bit where I'm just trying to help people like write posts for Nextdoor because I really think that, after I heard this strategy from folks, I was like, maybe there's a way that this could actually like, if I could test this. And so basically what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of creating a playbook where I talk to a bunch of folks that had success with doing this. I got what they posted. So I got like screenshots and I also got like the links of what they posted. And I've kind of compiled like some insights from it. So I'm thinking about going and like helping bakers write a Nextdoor post based off those learnings to post on their in their neighborhood and just see. I can't guarantee results. Obviously, again, it varies neighborhood by neighborhood, state to state, but it is something that I'm really interested in doing. So if anyone's interested, feel free to ping me after this, and I'll put my.
some people interested in the chat.
Oh wow, that's incredible. So that was quick. That's amazing. So I'll leave my info at the very end, and I'd love if you like shot me a text or an email, and yeah, I'd love to work with some of y'all on that. That'd be really cool. And the last thing I'd say is getting word of mouth going. So understanding that iterating on word of mouth is how you'll or understanding, sorry, that iterating on this like kind of like these like different strategies over and over again and treating them like experiments is how you'll generate word of mouth. So even for Hot Plate, like I think for the first the first year, like we launched this version of Hot Plate 3 years ago, and the first year, we probably had like 10 to 20 customers, you know, and then in 2022 to 2023 he had like 100 customers for like a year, which I know is crazy, but I think we were just so focused on building a product that people really loved that actually solved problems for people. We're a tech business, right? So much of our business is about solving problems for people. And I think we were just so focused on that feedback loop of making sure that we were making something that actually solved problems for people that we were kind of content with slow growth for a little bit. Now, obviously, there's certain tech companies that have different goals and different like metrics. To some, like staying at 100 customers for a year would seem like a crazy thing, but for us it was really pivotal to establishing a relationship with each of our customers, knowing who they are, knowing their name, making sure that we were prioritizing the right things and building the right kind of product, and really having that feedback loop where we can put something out there, get that feedback and iterate on it, was how like, we made something that people really wanted and we kept it really small until last year. We literally 10, and last year we've like more than 10x, almost like 20x in growth. And it's kind of been insane. It's honestly been like unexpected, but also again such a blessing. But I think that's something that any business can really do. So some advice that I always give people is that when you're just starting out, it's really okay to do things that don't scale. So when you're kind of getting going, like a lot of people want to again be the Sarah to sourdoughs. They want to like be selling out their bread instantly, right? But I think when you're just getting started, it's so important to make a product that 10 people really love, as opposed to just making something that like 100 people or 1,000 people would sort of like, right?
Yeah.
And so
So
there
that
are,
happened with me too. My first month doing treat boxes, I only sold 8 for the whole month.
oh no way.
Yeah. And then the next month I sold 12 for the whole month.
Yeah.
I think it took me like 5 or 6 months before I was hitting that like 2 dozen every weekend
Wow.
thing. So that's a great point to like keep in mind is that it might not happen overnight, you know. There
Totally.
is some people that it does happen, like they blow up, but putting in the time and effort into your product and having it consistently grow is important.
I completely agree. And I'm curious, Rachel, like what was the kind of process? You said you sold 8 the first month, right? And so like what was the kind of like process that you went through? Did you like reach out to those 8 people and talk to them? Like what was kind of like the thing you did to help get you from like 8 to 12 and from 12 to like 2 dozen?
Word of mouth, that's what it was. So I did the first couple months, I was doing treat boxes that had like 8 different types of treats, like macaroons, a cake pop, a donut, a cookie. So when I was only doing 8, like that many different treats was okay because I could handle it. Once I scaled up, I tell people, okay, like pick 1 or 2 things max. Um, but I focused really hard on promoting, creating that FOMO. Like I wanted it to be exclusive. Like you can only get these Nightmare Before Christmas treats from me, and you can only get them in this month on this weekend. So, um, the first couple months, so I would do a drawing for the next month, somebody would get a free box. So I took all of my 8 customers and I put them in a drawing and I picked one of them, and the next month somebody won a free box. And I did that for the first couple months.
Wow.
Um, so I had a requirement that all they had to do was post a picture of the box and tag me. Um, and I was able to grow my Facebook group to about like 300 of local customers
Wow.
within like the first few months of doing that little drawing thing.
Yeah.
Um, so word of mouth when you do these treat boxes. And the thing is, you have to make sure that you are taking good pictures of your stuff. People buy with their eyes. If you are scrolling and you see something that looks irresistible and amazing, you are gonna be like, okay, how do I get this? So making sure that your product actually looks amazing on your social media, especially when people share it, that's um, that's a great way to have people like, okay, I need this. I need this now. Um, and yeah, that's how I scaled up.
That's so smart. That makes so much sense. Yeah, no, I mean like I could definitely see how doing like giveaways, I see that a lot too on Instagram, right? Where people are like, "Hey, like I'm gonna be giving away like I'm gonna be giving away like a box. So in order to do that, you gotta like this post, comment with some friends that you think would be good, right? And I see that work so well every single time people do it. And it's really to your point though, it is about how you execute it. So like making sure the photos are really good. Because if you put something up but people don't want it or people doesn't look like appealing, right? Then you can give away something, but no one's gonna really want to get it in the first place, right? And so I think that so much of it is down to like marketing, but marketing can feel like this really scary thing when really it's about like making something that people love, figuring out what about they love. So like in the beginning, you put out 8 things, right? And you kind of macarons and all this stuff. And as you scaled, I'm sure you probably figured out like what parts of the box that people love the most. And
Yeah.
let me double down on those, right? And as you scale, you probably take like better and better photos over time. It didn't probably happen immediately. But
Oh gosh, no. I took a photography course.
oh,
I took a little yeah, my photography was not always amazing. But natural lighting, there's and I just use my iPhone. Like you don't need to have like a crazy setup. I use my iPhone and I got this little backdrop off of Amazon for like 20 bucks. So I don't have like a light box or anything. I set it up right by the window. Making sure that there's no like stuff in the background,
yep.
your hands are clean, like little things like that are like how you can make your stuff look good. Um,
100%. So, just to kind of reiterate before I continue, for word of mouth, I always say two things. One, do things that don't scale. So, in the beginning, again, it's so tempting to do really scalable things. And some of the things we mentioned, you should just try because you should treat it things like experiments, like, and things like Nextdoor, things like Facebook groups, doing polls, putting out giveaways. Like, you should kind of experiment with different forms of marketing, and those can be scalable. But when you have, 5 customers, and you're like feeling defeated, it's building that relationship with those customers, making those customers 5 people feel like they're having like a 10-star experience, and figuring out what about your product they love and then doubling down on that is how you go from 5 to 10 to 100. Because if you can make something 10 people love, you can make something 100 people love. But to your point, right? If you are trying to scale to the moon, but you don't have good photos, or like you put out a box or a cookie and it's like, kind of like hard or stale, or it doesn't really hit right with customers, right? Then scaling is gonna be a lot harder. Versus if you nail the product, you nail the thing, and you scale the love, right? Like that's how you generate that word of mouth. That's how you kind of get your business to the next level. So, um, just kind of reiterate some of these things. Know your hero product. Having a product that you anchor your brand around is really important. Create something that customers can recognize you for. Definitely want to price strategically. Base your pricing on demand and market comparison. It really depends. There's a guy, I live in San Francisco, Rise Up Sourdough. Z is an amazing baker. He'll sell his bread and he'll wholesale. And there's like really a lot of like controversy in SF because it's a $20 loaf of bread, which is like bananas. Like that's absolutely bananas, right? Like for a lot of people, it's like that's just like I cannot even consider buying his sourdough because it's $20 loaf of bread. And then other people snatch it up, right? So it is kind of crazy. Like obviously that's an extreme example, right? But you want to price your products relative to like the stuff around you. But if you have products that have high demand, or if you keep the quantity really limited and you've really validated that it's something people love, consider a premium. Like it's okay to charge a little more than you feel comfortable with, or that like you would think would work. And you'd be surprised, right? Because part of they're not just buying bread that they can get at a store, they're buying your bread and it's an experience, right? And they're buying your treats. And I think like people often undervalue themselves or compare themselves to stuff at a store, when in reality, yes, you want to be cost effective relative to the market. Again, I don't personally recommend a $20 loaf of bread between you and me, to anyone in this chat, but like I do think that charging a small premium is totally fine. Um, Grow your SMS list. So getting people, if you're using Hotplate, to put their phone number in, sign up for those text message reminders is so important, and it really does lead to increase in conversion rates. Having more those customers get those texts every week. Sorry, maybe the first week they get it, they're like, I'm not interested. The second week they get it, and maybe I'm still not interested. But that third week I get it, and maybe I am feeling bread this week. There's a dumpling vendor in SF that happened to. Like I subscribed to her weekly dumpling drops, or bi-weekly dumpling drops. And there was just like a few times where I was like, you know what, I actually do want dumplings like later this week. That does sound really good. So especially in a world where the Instagram algorithm can get really finicky, the flow of like building your customer base via social media, getting all those customers, funneling them to your Hotplate site, capturing their phone number, getting an emails newsletter, capturing their email, and then using that as a way of like marketing can be a lot more effective when, like, for example, the algorithm may not be promoting your post that day, right? So it's really important to capture people's info whenever you can. Like we did with this webinar, like everyone that signed up registered, and can't believe 250 people registered. That's absolutely insane. And then the last thing is definitely promote your drop. We talked a lot about different channels and strategies on how to promote your drop. Nextdoor, Facebook groups, email newsletters, social media, Hotplate notifications, marketing ahead of time, building the hype for the drop. That's the thing I would say that separates like Hotplate and like the pre-order model from like a pop-up, right? Is because with the pre-order model, customers see your stuff and then they put their phone number in and they get a text when orders open. So you can market before the drop, before the orders open, and then when the orders open. As opposed to like, with a Shopify site or Square, you just put up the stuff and you're like, hey, orders are open now. And people can kind of just get it whenever. But by marketing it as like limited, exclusive, time bound, you only have this many days to order. It can create that feeling of like, I gotta get this now versus like this is just a commodity or something that I can get whenever I want. So yeah, kind of like wrapping it up. We really marketing the SMS feature here, but it is so important. Um,
Yeah, honestly, it's like I think somebody told me before that somebody needs to see something like 6 times, or
yes,
just an
seven
example,
seven times. Yeah,
seven
across different.
times before they decide to purchase.
Mhm.
So the fact that like I get text messages from so many of like the shops and stuff that I love, and you know, there's been weeks where I don't buy anything, and then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I do want to get that sweater
I
now.
know exactly, right? Um,
Yeah,
and I
it's
think
really smart.
I think food businesses should have the same sort of
Yes.
tools as.
Yeah, especially when people have cravings. Oh my gosh, can you imagine getting a text when you're like craving something sweet and it's
Oh,
like,
for sure.
here's the solution for you?
So one thing we've also seen, no, 100%. One thing we've also seen that works really well is, for example, if you're at a farmer's market or you're at like you're doing your porch pickup, or you're just kind of marketing to people, having like a poster kind of like this where you have your QR code that goes to the SMS sign up on your Hot Plate storefront with like a nice tagline and your logo. That's like, hey, do you want to pre-order, or do you want to sign up for my pre-orders, or hey, do you want to like buy fresh bread every week, or just some tagline that you can experiment with that works really well. Having it a poster that you can bring so that people scan it, just put their phone number in and you capture that customer at like a farmer's market or something is also a great way to build up your customer base and then re-engage them later for when you're doing your porch pickups. I know farmers market season is kind of over, so for a lot of folks, this might have been a good tip to learn like a few months ago. But even still, like there's a lot of pop-ups you might do where people may not be buying, or like, maybe you want to like just bring these around. I know, just talking to a woman yesterday who lives in a town where there's a military base. So we set up her storefront. Now she's just gonna take her poster and go to like the military base and like put it up. Or like maybe you want to print this out as a flyer and go tape it to like poles in your neighborhood, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say that, like even other small businesses, I've been able to like make connections within like our local groups with other small businesses. I bet if you guys tried something like that, somebody would let you put up a little poster.
Yeah,
Um,
100%, right? And then like just putting your hot plate link in your bio, letting people know to sign up for SMS notifications really helps, and it really does grow your customer base. So yeah, that's hot plate. You can streamline your operations. You can set when and where customers pick up. You can set the menu items up, the inventory, create events super easily. When the orders come in, we give you the counts so you don't know what you need to make. Never have to go through a spreadsheet. Give you your tickets. It's really simplified, really streamlined. Hopefully, this is a good explanation of Hotplate. I'm always happy to onboard anyone personally or walk through anything if anyone has any questions or confusion about the platform. But before we go into questions, before we end this presentation, so that, you know Rachel and I can talk and that we can answer everyone's questions, I want to leave you with something that I just saw one of our customers put up that I loved. Greenhouse Bakery. Rachel is also amazing. Another Rachel, funny enough, who uh, said that, hey, if you're wondering how to start your own home-based bakery, one, make something very delicious, right? Two, start with what you have and build up an established customer base before like going into like making big purchases, right? Three, she said, give your products away to people in your community so they know you exist. And four, show up authentically online in real life. Rachel's amazing. You, Rachel, as well are amazing. But I think this advice is like so important to running a home-based bakery. I think like the authenticity and staying within your means, focusing on building up and focusing on quality and doing things like giveaways, marketing. It really just kind of ties back to all the advice we kind of gave so far. So thank you everyone for listening to this. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And no, I know there's a lot of people that posted in the chat, so I'm going to go through it as well. And yeah, no, happy to answer any questions um, that y'all may have. And also thank you. I'm sorry if I'm keep saying this, but thank you to everyone again for attending. This is like truly so humbling. And Rachel, I'm really excited to be here with you. This is really great. So Verena asked a question. And also, thank you, Verena, for the love. I really appreciate that you like the features that we offer. Just to clarify, does it mean you find it more effective to post in your Facebook group, not to your Facebook page? You
I
said
answered some questions in the chat like while we were going that people asked. So my answer should be in there.
yes.
Um,
Said yes, it's been more effective for my tree box sales to promote them in my group. Really interesting insight. I actually heard from folks that they were doing a page. Then I also heard from other folks that were doing a group. And I think a group actually makes a lot of sense the way you put it, because you can let people in, keep it kind of exclusive, keep it
yeah.
to your neighborhood. That's really great.
I like
Um,
that. Yeah, thank you.
no, of course. And I really appreciate you asking. I will definitely email out this poster example. I can send that kind of an email to everyone at the very end of this. And yes, I am recording the meeting. Don't worry. So you're all good. So I think we can go ahead and just kind of take questions. How does that sound, Rachel?
Yeah, if anyone has questions, just drop them in the chat. We'll try to answer as many as we can in the next 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, like 12 minutes. That's great. And also, Rachel, if you had anything as well you wanted to add, more than happy to. I think we covered a lot of ground. This is awesome. So,
Yeah, we actually answered like the questions that I had written down like as we were talking.
oh man,
The only thing I wanted to like add is how you did talk about like being authentic. Um, People in your community care about your story. You might think that they don't, or it's not interesting, or something like that. I mean, I'm a pretty boring person. I'm a mom of three, a special needs mom, and I share that with my community. And I share the fact that um, working from home gives me like the opportunity to care for my family. And I am very vocal about that. I share with everyone how grateful I am for their business and how their business actually affects me and my family. And people like that. They like feeling like they're helping someone in their community. So don't be scared to share your story, get personal. You don't have to get super personal with people, but letting them know a little bit about your life is a way to like build that connection. And that's something that I do in my Facebook group. I post things that are going on. I ask people what they're up to for the weekend. I engage with them in my group far more than just, okay, here's what I'm selling this week. So just keep that in mind too.
amazing. Yeah, that was really well said. I think you're not boring at all, but that's just me. And I think you're super cool. I mean, the fact that you're doing monthly treat boxes is awesome. So, but I'm also, I mean, pretty boring. I work with bakers and chefs. I just spend my whole day talking to chefs. And yeah, I have a lot of friends in Silicon Valley who are like, I can never. And I'm like, that's on you. And like I love my job. So, but cool. So, couple questions. And I'll definitely also email out. Yeah, I would love some of y'all to, get your. I would love if some of y'all could, if I could work with some of y'all on posting on Nextdoor. That sounds awesome. That'd be really cool. And so definitely reach out separately. And I'm also gonna put my info. Our customer support phone number for Hotplate is 214-833-9248. And then our email is support@hotplate.com. So if you just email or text us, let us know, let me know rather that you're from this webinar. I would love to connect with each of y'all. I also have your email info when you're ready.
Um, do you want to, so you direct messaged me. Do you want to put that for everyone to
Ah,
see in the chat?
my bad.
It's okay. I did that like the first time I chatted. I responded back to you.
Oops. Okay, well, here is my info now, everyone. So definitely call, text, email us. Me and my team, I have an amazing team that I work with. I should obviously clarify that Hotplate is not a one-man show. I'm super humbled that so many people reach out and are like, Rishi, you're like doing everything, and I'm like, that's so lovely. I am definitely not. I work with 7 amazing people, that like make it all run in the background and are like super incredible. So if you reach out, it'll go to me, one of my teammates. We'll definitely take care of. But couple questions that I got here. So Rachel, actually, I'd love your thoughts on this. Wondering if you have a recommendation cadence for social media posts and engagement. I have some thoughts. Would love to hear your answer.
Um, you go first.
Very so what I often find is that people, it really depends. So like we have ice cream vendors who have kind of built up a following where they post so I have a guy, A to Z Creamery. He posts a trailer. So he does like a pint of ice cream every week, and it's a new flavor of ice cream.
I've shared his story in my group.
Really?
Yeah,
It's amazing, right? It's
I thought
so
it was
cool.
so cool.
It's so cool. He like puts up a trailer on Wednesday teasing the pint and the flavor. And then on Thursdays mornings, he'll like announce the flavor. And when orders open, the orders will open Thursday night. And this dude will literally sell like 1,300 pints of ice cream in like, sometimes he'll sell it in like a minute or like 2 minutes.
Oh,
It's
that's
absolutely
crazy.
ridiculous. And he's one dude in Minnesota making ice cream, and it's pretty unbelievable. But in his case, right, he posts the trailer on Wednesdays, posts on Thursdays. Um, I would say like it really varies. Like Sarah to Sourdough, I think she just posts whenever she's like feeling it. And her posts are really cute and really adorable. And I think when it comes to, oh, that's so cool, Heather. Oh my God. That's awesome. Yeah, we should totally chat. You should definitely ping me, and no, I'd love to talk through it. But yeah, no, um I do think that the cadence that you go at is really dependent on like your kind of goals with your social media. It's like for Instagram, some people want to use it as a way to just market what they're selling, and they want to kind of keep it to a schedule. And some people want to use social media as more of like an authenticity tool. Like for us, even at Hotplay, like I run our social media account, or like I have some help, but yeah, I definitely am posting on social media, and I kind of just post whenever we have inspiration and whenever we're feeling like it. Um, I do think if you're able to keep it to a schedule, it's better,
Yeah,
right?
I can share like what I do personally.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So I do treat boxes every month. So I have the same product for the whole month, and then the next month I change it. On Sundays is when Sunday nights, I announce my drop. I post it in my group and I use the everyone feature tag so nobody misses out. But Hotplate offers the text service, so you can do that as well. Um, and I take orders Monday through Wednesday. Wednesday night they stop. Thursday and Friday are my bake days. I stop them Wednesday so I know how much I need to make. Thursday and Friday I bake, package. I have everything stored, and then I do pickups on Saturday and Sundays. I have a no contact porch pickup service. Make sure you can do this in your location. Some states require you to be present for one part of your transaction. So if you do your online ordering, you might need to be in person, which you can set up outside of your house and there you're in person. I have a porch pickup option and I offer time slots on Saturday and Sundays. So they pick their time that they want to come. I put their order outside, bing, bang, boom, it's done. And that's how I run my treat boxes. Sometimes if I like have things to do that weekend, I'll only offer one time slot. If I'm going to be traveling to a different part of town, I'll do a pickup at like Walmart parking lot. Like if it's a small drop, you can you can actually select where you want to do your pickups from in Hotplate, and then you can also have it set up to where they don't receive your address until they purchase from you. I know some people are like, I don't know how comfortable I feel like putting my address online, they won't get it until they order from you if you select that little option, which I thought was really smart because that's something I've gotten from a lot of people. But yeah, that's how I do my treat boxes.
Amazing. Well said. And I definitely agree. I do think that having like depending on the cadence you're doing it, like a weekly schedule, where you're posting consistently helps a lot. And Rachel, I think you put it super well. And then Tobias, thank you for hosting. It's been super informative. Thank you, man. Just wondering how you've been handling transitioning customers from DM, SMS to ordering exclusively on Hotplate. That is a great question and something that I am also working with folks on figuring out. So I'd love separately if you could message me because I'd love to kind of help you through that. Something that I've been finding that works really well is kind of marketing the exclusivity of it. So kind of letting people know I've been so overwhelmed with with the response and the demand to my products. I'm like so grateful to everyone. If ordering is getting harder and harder, some effect of this, there's some like wording on this where essentially you're like marketing that things are exclusive, they're getting harder to get. So if you want to make sure you get it before it sells out, put your phone number in and order on Hotplate, right? But also letting people know that you are moving to Hotplate to kind of streamline your ordering process. I think people are really understanding when they know why you're wanting to use a platform like Hotplate, and that it like makes your life easier because otherwise they're just like, wait, it's easier for me if I can just DM you, right, and like just like get whatever I want. But if people kind of understand that, um hey, like I want to be nice to this baker because like their life is kind of getting tough because everyone's DMing them, then people are more inclined to just uh you know uh, kind of
Yeah.
order
People are understanding.
yeah,
Especially
exactly.
when you're a small business that's going through a transition. Like they're supporting you because you're a small business. They're going to understand things change. So,
So I've seen both strategies work. Some people, and I think really it just comes from like whatever place is like authentic, honestly. Like I do know folks who did get like super overwhelmed with DMs and then they let people know they were moving to Hotplate and that worked. And then some
yeah.
people were just like, hey, I just want to streamline everything and move to Hotplate and that also worked well. So, kind of whatever works for them. Um, Thanks so much, Randy, and thanks so much, Tobias, and also thank you to everyone for coming. I know that said that like 50 times, so I am like so grateful. Rachel, you are amazing. I'm so happy
Thank
we're
you.
connected. We're gonna connect separately as well,
Yeah.
just so I can give my thanks. But no, thanks to everyone for hopping on. I know we're kind of at the end of time, so I just want to be mindful of everyone's time. But like I said, I'm Rishi. I'm one of the founders of Hotplate. You can always reach us at 214-833-9248. Just call or text me. I'll make sure you're taken care of. Or you can email us at support@hotplate.com. Rachel, it's Valley Girl, right? In the kitchen.
Yeah, Valley Girl Kitchen. If anybody has questions about doing treat boxes, you can always message me. I do have a course of I recorded a course teaching people how to do treat boxes and how to set up their hot plate, how to select items to offer in their treat boxes. I've included like recipe bundles in there. So if anybody wants to check that out, you can go to my Instagram. I'm on Facebook. You can message me if you have any questions, and I can help you from there.
Amazing. 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 Rachel, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone for joining and have a wonderful rest of your day.